This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Funding for LTI relocation project. Tachenko apologizes to the nation. And Special Purposes Authorities mandate question. Good evening, you're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. The Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pilar Niningi presented a check over 7 million kina to consultancy firm Peddlethorpe for detailed design and documentation of the new LTI relocation and design. Work is underway for the Legal Training Institute's new infrastructure. Under the LTI Relocation Development Project, a payment for design and documentation was made to contractor Peddlethorpe yesterday. Chief Justice Gibbs Salika has stated that this occasion is a momentous one for the Legal Training Institute.
These new developments going towards having a completely new building to house the Legal Training Institute is going to go a long way in training of our lawyers. The legal profession is all dependent on the Legal Training Institute.
On behalf of the government, Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pilar Niningi was there to present the check to the contractor and stressed on the importance of lawyers having their own infrastructure and accommodation.
I never had an accommodation or building of our own. So it's important that we have lawyers, we produce lawyers. Government make a lot of decisions, companies make a lot of decisions, but end of the day, lawyers say go sit. Lawyers are final say.
Minister Niningi announced that LTI has been taken as a priority, unlike past years.
Legal Training Institute. So it's an important institution that we've never given much thought to it. Now that population increase, more students are going in. I'm happy to see that more females are going in.
Yes.
That way, to recognize them, we have to have a proper billing to go, a proper training. We don't want people to scrape through. We have a proper lectures.
He further mentioned that the Legal Training Institute was never given serious attention when it came to allocation of funds. Therefore, he thanked the Marape Rosso government for investing in LTI.
Comment on Honorable Prime Minister James Marape and Rosso and John Rosso, the Deputy Prime Minister. They're making some funds available for this year. Legal Training Institute was never given a serious consideration when it comes to allocation of funds. So now, this year they made some money available, so 10 million kina available. So
upon receiving the check, CEO of Peddlethorpe, Brad Habson, had this to say.
Thank you, Minister, Chief Justice, Director, for giving us your confidence to deliver this project to you. The detailed design is completed, so now we look forward to delivering the project to reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The building will cost 180 million kina to complete. The project implementation period is planned over 5 years, which is from 2022 to 2026. A project submission of 194 million kina was made in the 2023 national budget. Member for Mosby South, Justin Tachenko, has wholeheartedly apologized to the nation of Papua New Guinea today during the parliament sitting. An emotional Tachenko explained that his comments in a media interview were targeted at what he described as social media trolls. Tachenko told Parliament that his words and comments were twisted and manipulated for political and personal gain.
Acting Speaker of Parliament Connie Iguan, after question time today, allowed time for the member for Mosby South, Justin Tachenko, to apologize to Papua New Guineans for comments he made during an interview with an overseas media. Member for Vanimo Green, through a supplementary, questioned why Tachenko was given the opportunity to speak on the floor of Parliament. Tachenko said the people of this nation must know the truth of what happened, how this was intended, manipulated, and what was really meant by his words at the time of the interview.
I made comments in a media interview that was targeted at what is better known as social media trolls. They are faceless people who spend their days on social media hidden behind false names.
Tachenko intensely told Parliament today that regardless of the office or position he holds, first and foremost, he is a father to his children. He claimed that some individuals, both in country and abroad, were making threatening and filthy remarks against his daughter, and as explained by him today, he had a burst of fury at these individuals.
I speak with every parent in this house and every parent of this nation and seek your understanding of how angry and frustrated I was and still am at these trolls. If anyone in our country thought that this was somehow a blanket statement about our people, that is completely wrong. And I apologize, as it was not in that context.
More so, Tachenko admitted that the TikTok video that his daughter posted was not appropriate. In concluding his statement, Tachenko again apologized to the people of PNG, adding that Papua New Guinea will be his final resting place.
I will serve the people of this great nation in any way that is asked of me. I will represent the people of Mosby South as their mandated leader and a member in this house for as long as they wish me to do so.
Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, today in Parliament, when the acting speaker gave the opportunity to the member for Mosby South, Justin Tachenko, to make his apology statement, member for Vanimo Green and PNG party leader Belden Nama made a point of order. However, the acting speaker, Connie Iguan, ruled out Nama's point of order, saying Tachenko is still the duly appointed member for Mosby South.
Mr. Nama, in a point of order, questioned why Tachenko has parliament privileges to sit in and to speak on the floor of Parliament after the incident that happened, which has caused an outcry from Papua New Guineans.
Mr. Acting Speaker, this house is the house of useless people and primitive animals. Why is this stranger being allowed and given parliamentary privileges to ask to make a statement? He made a statement to an international media. He should not be allowed to make a statement today. He should resign in disgrace and get out of this parliament.
A furious Mr. Nama called Tachenko a stranger, adding he should not be allowed into the parliament. Mr. Nama's outburst follows Tachenko's comments on an international media about a TikTok video of his daughter that went viral after a delegation including Tachenko and his daughter went for King Charles's coronation in the UK. Mr. Nama, together with some other members of Parliament, walked out just before Mr. Tachenko read his apology statement to the nation. Acting Speaker did not allow any debate on the statement made by Tachenko this morning. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
During question time on the second day of the June Parliament sitting today, member for Hiri Koyari Keith Iduhu directed a question without notice to the Minister for Provincial and Local Level Government Affairs, Soroi Eoi, on Special Purpose Authorities or SPAs in his electorate. He questioned what the mandate of the SPAs is.
The member for Hiri Koyari was the first to open question time this morning with a specific query in regards to the operations
and there are many other SPAs
of the Special Purpose Authorities or SPA in the provinces and especially the SPAs of the Hiri district.
Can the minister, the good minister, produce a report of the audits of these funds that have been delivered or distributed to the SPAs, Hiri SPA being one, and there are many others. But for our sake, the Hiri SPA is of great concern. Is the good minister also able to produce a report, in that report, explain the mandate of the SPAs, its functions and purposes, what it is there to do, and why is it functioning in place of LLGs?
In responding, Minister responsible Soroi Eoe clarified that although numerous attempts were made to various local level governments in the provinces where SPAs have been set up to provide financial reports, to date, only 8 have submitted their financial reports for SPAs. Minister Eoe further explains.
Out of 14 LLG SPAs, 8 responded. And I have received their reports. Some reports I'm going through it and I'm not satisfied because the report does not talk about how funds were used.
Minister Eoe added that his officers from the department have been tasked to look into the SPA mandate to enable open members to also have a say in the SPAs for LLGs in the provinces. Currently, open members do not have control of funding for SPAs. More so, Governor for Southern Highlands Province, William Powie, in a supplementary question, requested Minister Eoe to table the functions of SPA.
Minister, through Acting Speaker, can you table where SPAs are established in this country? Whom do they report to? Because a lot of resources have gone to SPAs, Special Purpose Authority, like in my province. I have no visibility on them.
The Special Purpose Authorities are structures created by the Department of Provincial and Local Level Government, mostly to implement projects set forth by various LLGs in the provinces. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Domestic flights into central Bougainville Saropa Airport have been put on hold, causing inconvenience to the traveling public, especially to Central and South Bougainville. This was the statement made by the member for Central Bougainville, Father Simon Dumarino, today in Parliament. He questioned what the problem was and directed this to the minister responsible for civil aviation, Walter Schnobelt.
Father Simon Dumarino asked why flights were stopped from landing at the Aropa airport, as this is causing an inconvenience to the people of Bougainville.
Asking question on condition, especially for Kieta Aropa airport. My question to the minister is, what a problem is stop now, but eligini amino woklom punda longen lo this time. Number 2 question, this is a problem in one time by responsible ministry, and we can resolve this problem now.
Civil Aviation Minister Walter Schnobelt clarified to the member and to Parliament that fractures have occurred over time due to earthquakes in the area, therefore flights were affected. He further explained when answering the member's question.
Yes, you got some problem lo runway. Lo di selahap lo Papua New Guinea and mi belajar kesimpulan di Guria Tumas earthquakes, and that has caused some of those fractures that are now
experience on the runway along Aropa, which affects now all flights will go inside long this time. No good balusi lane all kind. No good condition also an accident happens.
Snowbelt assured the member that he will task the National Airports Corporation to look into this and solve this inconvenience as soon as possible. Furthermore, Minister Snowbelt said airport upgrades under CADIP 1 have been successfully completed, with CADIP 2 program to be rolled out soon. This will include the Gurney Airport in Alotau, Kiunga in Western Province, Wiwex Boram Airport, the Hoskins Airport and Aropa in Central Bougainville. The minister clarified that funds will be sourced from the Asian Development Bank for these projects. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Today, the Minister for Works and Highways, Solan Mirisim, presented his ministerial statement in Parliament, outlining the plans for road development in the country through the Connect PNG program. Minister Mirisim stated that Development Program 2020 to 2040 aims to build and maintain 16,000 kilometers of roads consisting of national highways, missing link roads, bridges, provincial and district roads throughout the country, which have an estimated investment cost of 20 billion kina. He stated the government's medium-term plan.
By 2027, we must upgrade and improve to highway standard 4,200 kilometers of the 16 priority national highways in PNG and open up 1,800 kilometers of missing link roads, including the Trans-Island Highway, to meet the overall vision of government to create a single uninterrupted national road network that will, for the first time, connect the Momase and the Highlands region into Port Moresby in the southern region. For the New Guinea Islands, East and West New Britain provinces will be connected with a proper two-lane highway standard road that it can facilitate agricultural development, as the two provinces have huge development potential.
He further gave an update of two-lane national highway structure in the country.
And these highways, which includes Hiritano, Megi, East-West New Britain, Bluminski, Manus, Highlands Highway, and Civic Coastal Highway, serving the main economic corridors, providing critical linkages for major portion of the 85% freight and passenger movement in the affected provinces and the regions.
He elaborated on the road condition of the new highways.
Unlike before, road users can now experience improved conditions on the main highways for the first time. In keep pace with the medium-term investment targets, there are more than 3 billion worth of multi-year maintenance and capital works contracts that are running at the moment, and another 2 billion worth of works at design and tender stage.
The people of Enga province will now see proper regulation in prices of goods and services. This follows the signing of a memorandum of understanding between Enga provincial government and the Independent Consumer Competition Commission.
The signing of the MOU was done yesterday at the Taikanda Amphitheatre in Wabeg by ICCC Commissioner Paulus Ain and Enga Provincial Administrator Sandy Saka. The signing will now see proper regulation in the prices of goods and services in Enga Province. ICCC has engaged 2 agents from the commerce sector of the Enga Provincial Administration. Provincial Administrator Sandy Saka said the signing will pave way for the people to also report on unexplained rise in the cost of goods and services. Meanwhile, ICCC Commissioner Paulus Ain said his office was pleased to be invited to do an important job in ensuring ordinary citizens of Enga could afford basic goods and services. It was explained to the people that cooperation was needed from all stakeholders, especially from the citizens. Commissioner Ain also stressed that the two agents, Faith Amian and Zachariah Saka, must be respected by business houses in Enga when they go around to do inspections on the pricing of goods. Enga Governor Sepita Ipatas highlighted that all these efforts were made to ensure the people of Enga receive government services at their doorsteps. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
The Chief Technical Advisor of United Nations Development Programme, Adam Starr, said networking and technology is needed to enable factories in overseas countries to trace way back to PNG local farmers that will increase access to buyers who will buy premium products from PNG. He made a statement today during the second day of the 2023 National Protected Area Forum.
Oils that are utilized to be able to create.
The Chief Technical Advisor of UNDP spoke about landscape and production systems with how these areas are relevant to protected areas in PNG. These include improved sustainable and management practices, clarified institutional mandates and compatible incentives, and reduced conversion and degradation of forest and natural habitats.
Look at Papua New Guinea and the export economy of Papua New Guinea, it's all land-based. And so the idea that I wanted to give people today is that in order for us to be thinking about sustainability with the economy, with livelihoods, we need to be thinking about land use planning. Land use planning offers a method, a structure by which communities, individuals, government, all sorts of stakeholders are able to come together and go through a process together to be able to determine how they want to be able to use their land resources for today and for the future.
He highlighted that regardless of the land mass, PNG is blessed in terms of diversity and natural forest compared to other countries.
Less than 1% of the global landmass, and yet it has approximately 7% of the global biodiversity in one place. PNG is what biologists refer to as a mega biodiverse country. There are animals and creatures here that you simply cannot find anywhere else in the world.
He, however, placed emphasis on the traceability, which will enable farmers to be able to be certified or be able to compensate for their agricultural products. He confirmed that they are in the process of preparing a platform for palm oil and cocoa as they are working in collaboration with the relevant authorities and the PNG government to establish policies.
Things our project is going to be looking at. So we have two different sides of our project. We're one working with local communities on East and West New Britain, and also we're working at the national level. And as part of the national level, we want to be able to assemble a group that can be able to look out and seek international buyers that are interested in products from Papua New Guinea that can be certified and recognized as sustainably sourced. So that's not just technology, that is networking, that is bringing buyers that may not even know about Papua New Guinea products.
Estagane, National EMTV News.
Tusbab Secondary School in Madang Province marked the World Environment Day by cleaning up part of Madang Town. The school's Deputy Principal Academic, Mr. Michael Kavagu, said this year they plan on making the cleanathon a continuous event to bring back the beautiful Madang tag.
As per the 2023 World Environment Day theme, Solutions to Plastic Pollution, Deputy Principal Academic Michael Kavagu said the school is encouraging students to minimize the use of plastics in their homes and when doing shopping so that it can become a habit for them in the future. To mark this day, grade 11 and 9 students from Tusbab Secondary School, along with their teachers, picked up rubbish along the Coronation Drive towards the famous Kalibobo Lighthouse.
We encourage them to be in future, if they would be in the decision-making positions, they can be able to make better decisions in the best interest of safeguarding the environment by way of minimizing plastic bags production to be used in the shops or anywhere to pollute the environment.
Mr. Kavagu also said the school will continue on with the cleanathon in different parts of Madang town throughout the year.
We are taking a different approach. Instead of doing it just for the World Environment Day already, we will now extend to each of the communities on a monthly basis or timely or monthly basis, where students residing in their respective communities to do cleanup. They have to take ownership of their local environment by way of participating in community cleanup activities. They will take the lead, the students will organize, the school will assist, and the students will organize in their respective areas where they come from, especially within the Madang town vicinity.
The school was assisted by BSP and the Madang Catholic Archdiocese in providing trash bags and transport to remove the rubbish collected. Florence Jonduo, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2830 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, Kina was buying $0.2745 $0.4085 Australian dollars, $0.2492 euro, 37.92 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copper closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Moving to overseas news now, and in Australia, COVID and flu case numbers are beginning to climb as the winter season begins. The latest Queensland health data shows almost 600 beds in the hospitals are being used for patients who have either flu or COVID.
The number of flu and COVID cases in hospital is growing across Queensland. In fact, we are seeing some hospitals reintroducing mask mandates. We've seen that happen at the Bundaberg and the Mackay hospitals, and other health facilities are also considering doing the same thing. At the moment, the latest figures show we have 583 people in Queensland hospital beds either suffering from COVID or from the flu. Currently, on the COVID front, our traffic light system is sitting at green at the lowest level, but infectious diseases expert Dr. Paul Griffin, he wants to see that lifted to yellow. Just on the COVID front, we have seen a spike over the last week. In fact, we've seen a spike of 10% of people going in the hospital with COVID-19, and that is mostly affecting those aged 65 years or older. In fact, 3/4 of the people in hospital with COVID 65 years or older. But the spike in the flu is a lot more dramatic than that, 35% increase, and some of those flu patients are also going into the intensive care units. But we have really low vaccination rates here in Queensland, particularly amongst young people. In fact, that's sitting at around about 10%. Nationally, if you look at the figures, the latest data, surveillance data, shows there has been 57,000 confirmed cases of influenza so far this season and 57 deaths. That's a big increase from what we saw only 2 weeks ago. 40,000 cases were recorded, so the numbers are going up. And unfortunately, these cases of influenza are disproportionately affecting our children.
In India, families are desperately working to identify the victims of Friday's railway disaster that killed over 200 people and injured hundreds.
Days after India's worst rail disaster in 2 decades, trains slowly travel the same track, past derailed and mangled carriages. Operations resuming as repair works continue and further investigations get underway.
It's all right, but it's not completely fit yet.
275 people were killed in the crash on Friday after a passenger train hit a stationary freight train in the eastern state of Odisha, derailing on the tracks before colliding with another passenger train. 1,200 people were injured. Families have travelled to the region from across the country, searching for missing relatives.
We are very troubled, have not eaten properly in past 3 days. We have claimed 1 dead body.
Outside one hospital, photos of bodies are displayed on screens with a number, families watching for any clues that will identify loved ones.
I will die here if I don't get his body. I want to go to my village with his body.
Around 45 bodies have been identified so far, with 33 returned to relatives. In some cases, there's been confusion as different people try to claim the same person. A preliminary investigation points to a signalling failure as the likely cause of the crash, but not all agree.
The signalling system interlocking is fail-safe. There is no chance of malfunctioning in that.
India's Railway Board has recommended the Federal Central Bureau of Investigation take over the probe, and officials have now arrived at the site.
Members of the Central Bureau of Investigation and Commission of Railway Safety are working in different locations, and everyone is doing their own job. They are collecting evidence.
A separate inquiry led by a Commissioner of Railway Safety started on Monday.
In Ukraine, as the Russia-Ukraine war rages on, more than 17,000 people have been evacuated from floodwaters after the destruction of a dam in the country's south. Ukraine's President Zelensky is describing it as an act of terrorism and a war crime.
Within hours of the dam being blown up, thousands of residents of Kherson and its surrounding villages had to be evacuated to cities like this one, Mykolaiv. The people from Kherson have already been through so much over the past 15 months. The terror of Russian occupation. Then, after liberation, that city has almost been constantly shelled. Now they're going to have to deal with floodwaters, evacuations, and not knowing when they're going to be able to go back to their homes. This dam is so important to the people of southern Ukraine. It provides drinking water. It provides irrigation for so many of those crops that Ukraine relies on, and also to help feed parts of Africa as well. And the nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia, the biggest one in Europe, the third biggest one in the world, that relies on the water that comes from this dam to cool it. So what's happened to this dam is absolutely devastating for the people of southern Ukraine.
I came out of the basement and saw demolished houses and water flooded the main road. I have photos and videos of what is happening there now. Flooded road, stadium, school. Everything is flooded.
The Kremlin, they're claiming that this is an act of sabotage by Ukraine. President Zelensky says this is all about Russia. This is an act of terrorism from the Russian people, from the Russian Federation.
It was an absolutely deliberate, prepared explosion. They knew exactly what they were doing. Just imagine the volume of water held by this dam. It was one of the largest reservoirs in Ukraine.
For all those people who've had to evacuate Kherson and its surrounding villages, they just want to know, when can they go home?
Yesterday, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, appeared in a UK court to testify as part of his lawsuit against a major British newspaper that was alleged to have used illegal means to obtain private information about him.
Prince Harry has spent his entire life in the public eye. Now his chance to turn the spotlight back on the tabloid press, testifying here in the High Court in London over allegations that the Daily Mirror newspaper used illegal means, including phone hacking, to gather information for stories about him. The Prince has entered 33 newspaper articles into evidence as proof that the newspaper used illegal means to get information for their stories. They range from stories about his childhood through to his teenage years at Eton College and even on a trip to Australia, a gap year he took at the end of his schooling. On that, he alleged that a private investigator for the Mirror Publishing Group was paid £550 to track and spy on Prince Harry while he was in Australia, to track his location. These are claims that the Mirror Publishing Group has denied. Lawyers for the newspapers say that most of the information in these articles was already in the public domain, that they'd been published before in previous articles by previous other publications, or that they had come from confidential sources, but importantly, that none of those sources were used illegally. Under cross-examination, he was repeatedly pushed to provide specific examples of illegal activity. He provided broad answers but maintained that there was no other way for this information to have been obtained by the Mirror Group. He also tendered a witness statement in the court talking about his treatment by the media over decades, saying that it had left him paranoid, describing it as vile, and that it left him being unable to trust anybody in his life. Now, the Prince will return here to the High Court in London on Wednesday local time. He says he's made it his life's mission to reform the tabloid press.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Kickboxing Federation will host a fight starting tomorrow, where fighters from Highlands and Southern Region will fight. Today, the fighters, both male and female, took time to attend their weigh-in at Sportsin Club in Waigani, Port Moresby.
More than 50 kickboxers, both male and female, attended their weigh-in for the first fight under PNG Kickboxing Federation, spearheaded by the President Stanley Nandex.
Today we going into our official weigh-in and we've got a fight tomorrow. This is the event called the Clash of the Regions, which is Highlands versus Southern. After they go through pre-qualification for them to team up as a Highlands region team and then the Southern region team. So after so many years of being laid off due to COVID, it's great to be back, and it's going to be a very interesting fight tomorrow.
According to the President, the fight is to identify the best fighters who can be trained for any international bouts in the future. The weigh-in process was to see how much each fighter has cut down on their body weight and whether or not they should participate.
So far, so good. Bit of a delay, bit of, hold up due to some situations, but I think we all going good, and the event is already to set for tomorrow, and the weigh-in's all completed, and I think we appealing to the locals within Moresby, wherever you are, come and support as you should be. It's always great to be back again, and looking forward to the event tomorrow.
Today, during the weigh-in process at Sportsin Club, President Stanley Nandex said the Federation is ready to host their first fight come tomorrow.
Yes, I think we're more into promoting law and order issues in terms of violence. We're very happy to partner with SP Brewery violence against or domestic violence against women and girls. It's an initiative that SPS and we are using as to drive it through, and it's good that we like to come out and promote such program issues that are actually hindering our community, and as a sport, we use that platform to carry out that awareness. So it's part of our obligation as a sport to make sure that we partner with any organizations trying to fight against certain issues that is actually in our community. So we're proud of that.
The fight will kick off tomorrow starting at 3 p.m. and finishing around 7 p.m. and will take place at Sports Scene Club. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Meanwhile, President for PNG Kickboxing Federation, Stanley Nandek, says the current event the PNG KBF is preparing to host is a lead event to international invitational tournaments.
PNG Kickboxing Federation, while looking to host its first fight after a long time, President Stanley Nandex said they are happy to announce that PNG KBF has a couple of international tournaments to attend later this year.
We've got invitations from overseas in Italy, that's in October, and World Championships next year in France. So this is all about leading up towards the international fights.
He said this is the start of something big, and the Federation will need all the support they can from business houses as well as the government. He added that international fighter Nelson Sampson, who has been very supportive of the event, which is taking place tomorrow, also is using this bout to prepare himself for the international bout this month in Sydney, Australia.
Yes, Nelson Sampson has been very much instrumental in terms of developing a lot of our fighters within NCD, and I took off from him, and this is the major one, so that's why the Federation need to come on board. We have given a lot of opportunity to local club promoters like Kaupa in Eastern Highlands, and in here Sampson was actually doing much of that. He's got a fight coming up also, which is by June 23 this year. This is going to be his trial match as well, so we're keeping that opportunity for him as well, not just been training in here and jumping in the ring in Australia. It's a different environment. It's good that he can fight with his own locals, but they all senior fighters, and I'm sure that he's really geared up, he's ready, so we all support him and looking forward for his also match in Australia as well.
He said he is looking forward to reviving kickboxing again and once again create another Nandex for the future. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The management and board of the Papua New Guinea National Rugby League competition sent a media statement with regards to the Round 8 match held in Lae on Sunday, the 4th of June 2023 of the National Rugby League competition. Firstly, the management and board of the PNG NRLC has said that they would like to encourage media outlets to report responsibly based on facts and evidence of what actually happens in the match that the PNG NRLC hosts. PNG RFLC comments come after a misleading reporting in one of the dailies showed to be biased, untrue and non-factual, stating that reporting can be detrimental to any sporting code.
These incidents that happened at the Lae Rugby League Oval were very unfortunate, and the PNG NRLC has requested for statements from all parties involved in the incidents that occurred. Reports were received from the match officials that officiated the double-header in Lae between Lae Snakes Tigers and Enga Provincial Government Mioks, as well as the reports from match officials of the PRK Mendi Muruks and Bintengo Goroka Lahani's match. The PNG NRLC certainly does not condone any form of violence of any sort in the premier competition after they have taken huge strides to ensure that the sport entirely removes violence and adopting to a zero-tolerance policy. The PNG NRLC Review Committee met and reviewed the video footage of the game and has identified those involved in the incidents and had laid charges to those involved in the unfortunate incidents. The actions of those offenders have breached a number of PNG NRLC rules and guidelines and will not be taken lightly. The performance of match referees are also being reviewed. The penalties for the players and club officials involved in the incidents were served to their respective clubs today. Bintengo Goroka Lahani's player Roger Kenny will serve a 7-match ban for disputing the match referee's decision and breaking laws of the game by conducting himself in a way contrary to the rules of the game. Fellow Lahani's player Charlie Buka will serve a 2-match ban for disputing the match referee's decision, thus bringing the game into dispute. The Lace Next Tigers' Charlie Simon will serve a 6-match ban for charges of using offensive language and misconduct. Simon has been charged for breaking the rules of the game by running onto the field of play after full time and verbally assaulting the match referee. The MRC found his actions a very serious breach of conduct as captain of the club and is sending a stern warning to Simon. Tigers club officials Jerry Coots and David Loco have been banned from attending any National Rugby League matches for 5 years effective immediately, where they will not attend any games effective immediately until 2027. The charges handed down by the MRC to the offenders will send a stern message and strong warning to all clubs and their supporters to have more respect towards match officials and the competition as a whole. PNG NRLC says the safety and security of their players, their officials and supporters will not be compromised by disrespectful individuals. Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with few possible patchy showers and thunderstorms. Daru cloudy with few evening showers. Kerema cloudy periods with few showers. Alatau rain periods and possible thunderstorms. Popondeka cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 7th of June 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.